Shot! And a goal! Seattle has their first! All I gotta say is Porter can't say shit.
He's a tough kid.
Good afternoon and welcome from CenturyLink Field in Seattle, Washington. I was going to go for Seattle, Washington, but it didn't quite break out. Anyways, it's the Sounders playing against Real Salt Lake here on Scuttlebutt Sims. I'm Andrew Harvey, alongside Jackson Feltz in what is decidedly a first take production all the way through. Jackson, how are you?
I'm doing good, Andrew. Thanks so much for being here tonight, and thanks to all you guys for watching. And you know, what do you know? For the first time this season, we have a Sounder team that is sitting at the top of the Western Conference against a team who's second to last in the Western Conference. We're going for history tonight. It's going to be a fun outing. And what do you know? Ruiz Diaz back on the bench for Seattle tonight, Andrew.
Yeah, and that obviously is a huge addition. Ruidiaz still tied for the league lead in goals despite having missed the last 4 matches for Seattle after going down early against San Jose. You'll see him here topping the substitutes, but Will Bruin has still been slotting in ably for him in that number 9 role.
Yeah, and he's been great since he came on. I mean, it'll be kind of tough to see him go, and I'll be wondering what Brian Schmetzer and this coaching staff will do when Ruidiaz comes back, if they could figure out a way to keep Bruin on the field. But either, I mean, if you keep Bruin on, you have to take somebody else out. And the way this team has been firing on all cylinders right now, going back to last season, 19 in a row, unbeaten right now. Absolutely incredible. So this is going to be interesting. Let's see if the Sounders can make that number 20 and move forward into the record books. So, I mean, listen, this team's firing on all cylinders. There's no reason, as good of our team as RSL has on paper, not doing it on the field so far this year. Should be a very fun night here at CenturyLink. I can't say it as well as you.
It doesn't really roll off the tongue. We need to come up with something better.
It does not.
Well, in any case, thank you once again for joining us here on Scuttlebutt Sims. Delighted, as always, to have you alongside with us. I don't know if you guys are still enjoying listening to these as much as we enjoy making them, but we're still enjoying making them, so we'll keep on doing that. Fun fact, Jackson, this is now match day 14. We're almost halfway through the simulated season.
How about that? Man, it just goes so fast. It's here. I mean, we don't know how far that this real MLS season will be delayed, so kind of like you said, we're going to keep doing it. But I mean, listen, if we're doing this all the way until MLS Cup, just based on results so far, hey, a real trophy, listen, it's better than a fake trophy, but I'll take any trophy I can get this year.
Absolutely. And obviously, Jackson, at the time of our recording this, of course, this being recorded on Friday evening before you depart the station at 9:50 KJR, where you ply your trade from 9 to 5 or whatever hours you tend to work.
It varies, yes.
Right. Well, obviously, the big news right now is that in the real world, outside the simulation, reportedly, the MLS Players Association is meant to vote tonight on whether or not they will agree with the league's Orlando plan, as there's a very effete header toward goal from Will Bruin. And so, Jackson, probably by the time that our listening audience is tuning in here on Sunday, we might have a much clearer picture of how and when the league intends to resume.
That's exactly right. And we know that the Players Association has been very, very against the Orlando proposal in the sense of not being able to be with family for such a long period of time. So how that whole thing gets, negotiated, if players, I mean, not to mention, being away from families is one thing, but just the money side of it. We see what's going on in Major League Baseball. So a lot is left to be figured out for that theoretical Orlando plan. So maybe at this time tomorrow night, by the time you guys are all watching on Saturday evening, May 30th, we will know more, but we'll see what happens.
Rolled on, quick ball in from the right side. Oh my word, Lodero nearly lifts the goal completely off its mooring, and he puts Seattle on top in the 9th minute.
Very early goal for Seattle, as we've seen time and time again here in the simulation. And, this is a goal that we've seen a lot of different versions of, where Roldan has been able to find space. Ladero pushes up right next to Bruin, and it is going to be Ladero with this volley that we see. I think we've seen that a few times in the simulation, where Nicolas Ladero will just find the perfect spot, find himself one-on-one, get past his defender. No chance for the RSL keeper there, and I believe that's Nicolas Ladero. If we look at our stat sheet here, his 8th goal of the year, that ties him with Pozuelo, Ruidiaz, and Kamara at the top of the league right now.
Well, Ladero is on fire, and he has a very volley-tile left foot, Jackson. Are you going to throw me on mute for the rest of the match?
Yeah, no, that's well put.
Well, Sounders out to the early lead. Of course, they victimized this same Real Salt Lake side 3-1 on the road back on April 25th. And at that point, RSL hadn't won a match. And here we are all this time later. Sounders still unbeaten. RSL have only found themselves in the win column a handful of times, as the Sounders are looking for more off that early lead.
Yeah, they're staying on the front foot here, and it's good to see. I mentioned history at the start of the broadcast as the Sounders. I'll wait to give you this stat here as this attack continues. Well, their RSL takes it. But so the record, Andrew, of total games unbeaten in a row right now is 19. Columbus Crew had that from 2004 to 2005, and this is across multiple seasons. FC Dallas also has it from May 2010 to October 2010. So we've seen 19 in a row unbeaten a couple times. The Sounders, dating back to last season, they did it 2 games to end the regular season, 4 games in the playoffs, and 13 to start this year. They are at 19 right now, and with a win or even draw tonight, that record will now be 20 by the Seattle Sounders. Simulated or not, it's a record.
Absolutely. Of course, the Sounders never do anything preemptively, but I have been told that the initial design for the banner has been submitted. And basically that just means that I'm going to force Aaron to Photoshop something and try to hang it up in the background of the next home match.
Aaron, you have been charged to create that. I look forward to seeing that design there in the rafters of CenturyLink. I can't say it. I'm just going to stop trying to say it. CenturyLink Field. Maybe they should put up a banner in the real CenturyLink Field saying simulated record of most unbeaten in a row.
By 3 guys via laptop and Skype.
I must give you all of my broadcast tonight is presented by Ghost Dog Whiskey of Chambers Bay Brewing there in Tacoma, University Place, Washington. They are fueling my great takes tonight.
Well, and Jackson, I don't want to chastise you on the air, but all I will say is that, like always, I hope that our viewers are enjoying this broadcast as sober as I am in terms of producing it. Pay no attention to that sound.
Absolutely right. And Aaron, please do not fire us for drinking on the broadcast.
Aaron doesn't pay us.
He doesn't?
Ball in from the left side.
Oh.
Wait, have you been getting paid?
No, I was expecting a check. Aaron just keeps telling me that it's going to come in the mail eventually. I was holding out hope that it was actually going to happen.
Well, okay. We're getting pretty far off the rails here. The Sounders, meanwhile, fully in control, and pretty much these opening 23 minutes have gone exactly how we've expected they would.
It really has, Andrew. Going to the on-the-field performance here. They've been locking down at every position. The midfield's done a great job at cutting off pretty much every RSL attack. We've seen a couple crosses, but pretty much nothing really dangerous yet for Salt Lake. And Seattle controlled after their goal.
Ball in from Miro Fry. Tips that ball up. It's going to stay in play here. Leardon heads it wide. Christian Roldan plays it into the middle. A bit risky, but Joel Paulo and Gustav Svensson, so strong, such an able pairing, and one that obviously when we have a chance to enjoy soccer back in the real world is something that the Sounders are really going to rely on.
Yeah, it's interesting. We had Brian Schmetzer on our airwaves here at KJR last week, and I asked him the question very simply, are you concerned about these new players to the team, Joao Paulo and Jaimar Gomez Andrade? They haven't played with these guys for long. Are you concerned them getting reacclimated playing with these new teammates? And he said he was concerned. It is a real concern about guys. He really specified Jaimar Gomez Andrade, who hadn't played much time, but it is a concern. So I cannot wait to see those guys back with the team and seeing them on all cylinders back at actual CenturyLink Field. But what we're even seeing in the simulation is a degree of what we will see in real life, which is that the pairing of Svensson and Joao Paulo, and the ability of Joao Paulo to get higher up, as we've seen here in recent weeks in the simulation, that's going to be so formidable. Just putting that fivesome, adding in Ruidiaz when he gets back, and what we've seen with Will Bruin, Morris, Roldan, Ladero, and JP there. It's just going to be ridiculous to watch week in and week out what they can do on the field.
Morris drops it back inside here for Ladero. We've hit the half-hour mark. Sounders leading 1-0. Ladero gone ahead for Morris. The CenturyLink faithful doing the wave. Bruin broken up inside the box. Ineffective toward goal from Gustav Svensson, but you have to love the effort. Jackson, you mentioned that interview with Brian Schmetzer on 950 KJR. It's been a real soccer palooza on your station really the past day. You had Grant Wall, most recently of Sports Illustrated, on with Softy in the afternoon, and as I have it right, Arlo White paid Ian Furness a virtual visit in the middle of the day.
Yeah, all podcasts available after you're finished watching this game. Did I say podcasts? Am I from Boston or something?
You did.
Podcasts, yeah. Yes, available on sportsradiokjr.com as we see RSL interception there. But Arlo White on with Ian on Friday afternoon, Brian Schmetzer was on Monday. And then Grant Wall, who is no longer a Sports Illustrated, now with, he has his own podcast, Football with Grant Wall. You can find it on Spotify. That's where I'm listening to it every single episode. Just exceptional soccer mind in this country.
RSL looking for the equalizer, and they have it. It's Albert Rusnak, the same man who scored against Seattle in their first meeting, has brought things level in the 36th.
Well, we know that RSL is dangerous on paper. I mean, they haven't forced a lot of goals this year at all. They only have, that's, I believe, their 6th goal in the year that they've actually scored. But on paper, they haven't. And Albert Rusnak is a great player, and he just gets by Jaymar Gomez Andrade there and finds himself into a dangerous spot. But on paper, this team is good. You know, Corey Baird is a player that I have really liked for the last few years, a young, developing United States player who's going to probably be a bench player on a lot of national teams, but he'll start in the games where that doesn't mean a lot more. But he is a talented young player, is Corey Baird. Rusnak, another really, really good, strong player as well. We go down to Kryla. I mean, this is a team that has a lot of good pieces. So we're not supposed to say that this is a team that the Sounders are absolutely going to kick the crap out of. It's a team that can get a result if they need it. I mean, this is a team that made the playoffs in 2019, and the Sounders took care of business at home, but they won a playoff game. This is a decent team that Salt Lake is bringing to the table here tonight.
And of course, you know, this Sounders team doesn't look past anyone, but this is the same lineup that was rolled out against Montreal on the midweek. Saw 3 points then. And now, of course, we'll try to do the same here at home. You do start to wonder how fit Raul Ruidiaz just might be, and if and when we might see him come on here, what sort of impact he might make coming off the bench, likely in the second half.
Well, I asked Brian Schmetzer in the simulated world back on Tuesday at Starfire Sports Complex.
Ladero fires. McMath tips that wide. Just barely. Ladero thought he was going to grab his second there. It looked like it had gone in from our angle.
Oh, a couple weeks ago.
Near thing.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, he hit that near side, and he got it right where he wanted. I think it was against McMath. Doesn't get it there, but, you know, we'll go back to Ruidiaz here in a moment, but a great shot for Seattle to take the lead right before half.
Ladero's corner. The outswinger. Comes in around 12 yards out, headed toward goal. Did that take a tip on its way over? Will Bruin sent it high. Real challenge just to get up there to even meet that ball. It's even more of a challenge to try to direct it down under the bar when you have the ball dipping down from the corner like that, Jackson.
Yeah,
Bruin unable to do so that time.
That's exactly right. And Will Bruin, a guy that that's a positive when we look at the kind of the pros and cons of Will Bruin to Raul Ruidiaz at that forward spot. That's a pro because he's a much, much larger guy. Another huge body that you can throw forward on set pieces, on those corner kicks, and we see him coming up and getting a shot. Oh my God.
Ladero, instant goal of the week. There's no doubt. Ladero grabs his second in the minutes leading up to halftime. Will Bruin, the little tap-back pass, and Ladero lets fly. Two sensational goals for the Uruguayan here in the early goings.
I'm speechless. Let's watch this again. Wow. That is one of the best goals you will see. It's almost reminiscent of Victor Rodriguez's goal in MLS Cup, Andrew. It's obviously a little bit higher in the air than Victor's was, but it was, I forget who exactly it was that tapped it back. It might have been Nico taps it back to Victor Rodriguez in MLS Cup, and he just puts it right between defenders into the bottom right corner, and Ladero there into the a little bit upper right corner there. Just sensational goal that we will see there in the voting for MLS Goal of the Week. And just looking at this game here, in this with this first half coming to a close, huge momentum swing.
No, it absolutely is. Things felt like they might have been stagnating a little bit for Seattle, but that goal will definitely put them back on the front foot. Jackson, I mean, the decisiveness from Lodero there to just know as he was running up to take that on his first touch. I mean, it's like he has a computer making his decisions for him.
Exactly. It's as if it's all been put into the system, and Lodero is automatically a 99 overall player. We might see a third.
Paulo inching in here. Paulo have a critical save there. Did that stay in play? It has. It comes to Lodero on the near side. Christian Roldan forced to retreat here. 10 recordings we've done, Jackson, and the computer jokes, at least to you and I, still funny.
Well, they are, Andrew, but when we look at the numbers for Nicolas Lodero as we see it there, 2 goals in the first half. He is now the Major League Soccer leader for goals on this season with 9 right now. We look at his assist total. He has 5 assists. That ranks, I believe, tied for 3rd in Major League Soccer. He is the clear MVP frontrunner in this league right now. And with the could-be MLS Goal of the Week there just a few minutes ago, only celebration. Time for some more Ghost Dog whiskey from Chambers Bay Distillery. And we're not popping the champagne yet on this record of most unbeaten in a row here as we look forward to 20. But it's sure looking that way right now for the Seattle Sounders.
Well, we can afford to be in high spirits as you afford to imbibe spirits, Jackson. Imbibe, not umbibe. Anyway, Sounders lead 2-1 at the break. I'm going to go take a moment and do a couple tongue twisters to get my vernacular sorted out, and we will be back. But first, we'll throw it back to Aaron Lingley in the studio with a look around the league's action.
Hey, thanks very much, gentlemen. We have 2 matches I want to focus on before I get some highlights. Look at the top of the table. Number 3 and number 4, Colorado draw today 0-0 against Montreal, and Minnesota currently at halftime 0-0 against LA Galaxy. So that'll be interesting to watch. Here's something interesting to watch. FC Dallas just stomping on SKC, the visiting squad there. Here's the second one. What makes that interesting is SKC just a couple weeks ago was above Seattle in the standings, so they are dropping just like Colorado has been dropping. FC Dallas climbing, and they're starting to score goals. Speaking of a wonderful goal here, 90th minute, Philadelphia Union steal a point from the visiting Columbus. Ilsinho Jr., pretty impressive there. Philadelphia Union 2nd in the Eastern Conference, Columbus at 5. So let's get to the second half. Go Sounders, go.
Well, as we start the second half here on Scuttlebutt Sims, Jackson Feltz and I'm Andrew Harvey, we just want to take a moment to throw a shout out to Aaron Lingley, who's putting in all the real hard work on this. As you saw right there, like the live updated in real time table and the scoring leaders. It's been really, really fun to do this project so far because the production values have been really, really impressive.
Yes, and it's clearly nothing that we are doing, Andrew. All we are doing is making drinking jokes and laughing about computer jokes as we talk about fake soccer. I mean, listen, this is so much fun for us, but Aaron, the job that he's done to simulate not only this game, every single game on the Major League Soccer schedule he is doing, and this is the result of that. And just to see what we're putting together here with Nicolas Lodeiro with 9 goals in the season, I mean, we're not doing a thing where the Sounders have some sort of advantage. Every team is playing under the same simulation circumstances. This isn't, everybody talks about, what kind of difficulty on Madden do you play? This is the same difficulty for every team. The Sounders are just this good, and they're just this well built by the coaches and by General Manager Garth Lagerwey to build a formidable squad that can win MLS Cup in the real world and appear to be the front runners for MLS Cup in the simulated world.
Christian Roldan from the far side. Quick ball in. Knocked away from Bruin. Joao Paulo sends it back out wide. Broken up by Everton Luiz. Just one more bit of praise for Aaron Lingley, our producer. When Jackson says he's simulating all the matches, that's not as if he's popping them into the computer and hitting the quick sim button. He is watching every single match, which is where all the highlight reels are coming from.
And not only that, but I believe he's posting some of the better matches as well on the YouTube channel here for Scuttlebutt. So if you want to watch another team's match, if you're just stumbling on or whatever, or you want to see another team play, go ahead, watch more soccer. We are into this. This is as real of a soccer right now in terms of Major League Soccer as we have. So keep enjoying it, and Aaron does a fantastic job at posting as much as he possibly can.
Darrow, square here for Bruin. He's double teamed. He's brought down.
Oh, that might be a foul. I want to watch that again, but that might be a free kick there right at the top of the box.
Hard hit ball back to Jordan Morris. Svensson just belted the ball at him. Svensson can't get it past Nita Manoa. Wins it right back though. Bruin spins, lays it up inside. Christian Roldan, and it's 3-1. Roldan doesn't disappoint, and he's played in by Will Bruin once again. Sounders just flying here at CenturyLink Field.
They absolutely are, Andrew, and that's just a great takeaway there by Gustav Svensson. He gave it away, then he takes it right back, and the passing here, as we see that takeaway there, the passing there to the middle, and then the layout there from Will Bruin to Christian Roldan was perfect. I mean, it's as if these players know exactly where each other are out of the back of their heads. It's just pinpoint passing and perfect balls there as Christian Roldan plays keep away, and it's almost as if they're playing tag after he scores a goal. It's all smiles and it's all fun for the Seattle Sounders right now, up 2 goals. The record is in sight of 20 unbeaten as Damir Kreilach comes off for the suddenly now a person with a lot of hair, Kyle Beckerman, as he comes on for Salt Lake there. But this is a Sounders team that is on the precipice of one of the great records in this league.
Well, obviously the simulation, Jackson has realized that, like Samson, Kyle Beckerman's power is all contained within the dreads. Therefore, if Beckerman is going to soldier on in this league as he has done for so long, see there, Marcel winning a free kick. A little fake run up, chipped over the top. Stefan Fry, the leaping catch.
He makes it look easy, Andrew. Stefan Fry, that's a great save, and he makes it look just commonplace, like it's nothing for him. And that's just a testament to how good of a goalkeeper Stefan Fry is, where he makes the hard saves look easy. He's had really not much work today. The one goal that Albert Rusnak scored was, a free man on that cross there into the box. And, I don't think any MLS keeper is expected to keep that out of the goal. But every goal everything that was savable, I think, and you'd expect Stefan Fry to get today, he has gotten.
Well, an hour gone, and we alluded to it in the first half before a break in the game kind of took us away from it, but starting to wonder if we might see Raul Ruidiaz. Of course, if they don't play him tonight, almost 2 weeks of rest before you've got Vancouver to worry about. Morris's low cross won't matter. He was offside.
Yeah, it was. But going back to your thought about Ruidiaz, I can't imagine why Brian Schmetzer and this coaching staff would even risk that. Just keep Lodeiro on the bench, keep his legs ready to go for the game against Vancouver there in a couple weeks. Make sure he is 100%. Listen, the fact that he's on the bench tells me that that's a lot to go about Ruidiaz's personality and just how tough the kid is. I'm using a line right there from Brian Schmetzer. I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, I talked to Brian Schmetzer in the Simulated World down at Starfire on Tuesday. I did, and Brian Schmetzer once again said he's a tough kid. So, we'll see if he comes on.
Bruin can't fully get around on that ball. Frustrated tonight. He feels he should have two. Still goalless.
Still is. And it'd be good to see Bruin get on the score table here in what might be his last start for a while if Ruidiaz is indeed going to come back against Vancouver. But I'd say up 3-1 right now, no reason to bring on even a 90% Ruidiaz.
Svensson. Looking ahead. João Paulo. Sounders getting to that phase of the game where they can afford to be very, very patient. 2-goal lead. 25 simulated minutes to play. Through for Morris here. Morris cuts it back inside. Cleared away by Anoa.
I suppose we're on hat trick watch now, Andrew, because that ball Morris played a little bit back to Nicholas Ladero. Maybe it suddenly is on the minds of these guys. Let's get Nico 3. I'm trying to remember. I think the last hat trick for the Sounders in the regular season was a few years ago, I want to say. I'll have to go back and think about more about that. But obviously, Jordan Morris had the hat trick in the playoffs last year in extra time against Dallas. But in terms of a 90-minute hat trick, I'll have to go back and then do some on-the-fly research. Oh!
Well, Jackson, you will not be given your wish. Will Bruin 2 assists coming off, and a 90% perhaps better Raul Ruidiaz would check in. Maybe just a chance for him to not stress himself. You wonder if he might have just been given casual instructions to get out there, get a bit of a run out, and try to get things familiar again, but certainly not put himself under any strain, especially with this 2-week layoff coming up.
Yeah, you don't want to see Ruidiaz making any dangerous moves or anything like that, and especially, hopefully, not getting in any physical contact with an RSL defender. Just take it easy, and I don't think you need to score again. There's 20 minutes remaining. This is an RSL team that has 6 goals on the year now that they've scored. They're not going to score twice in 20 minutes. So, just play it easy if you're the Sounders right now.
Jackson, just after you tempt fate, it's a risky-looking through ball. Jovan Jones able to deal with it.
I don't believe in any jinxes. Jinxes are for the weak.
Also, as broadcasters, if we actually believe in broadcasters' curses, our commentary would either be stilted, terrible, or we wouldn't be in this business.
No, but it's going to be interesting. I mean, it's going to be nice to see this team back at near 100% strength. I know, obviously, these players, not 100% fit right now, but, having Ruidiaz back on the team and what we saw there in the early part of the simulation with that fivesome with Morse and Ladero and Roldan and Ruidiaz and João Paulo, I mean, that is about as good of an attack as you're ever going to see in this league.
Ball skitters to João Paulo. Jamar Gomez Andrade back for João Paulo. The Brazilian fires. It's blocked in traffic and cleared away by Corey Baird.
Well, I like this shot by João Paulo. I like the opportunity where he's able to take a step forward and get a little bit better position than he initially had, because he had a couple chances there. But for João Paulo, I mean, that's exactly where I want to see him on every single time the Sounders are up the field.
As Andrade knocks away that cross. Well done. Has it taken away by Everton Luiz. Miram. Giuseppe Rossi, and back for Miram. Miram here. Space for a cross. Leading that ball inside. And Stefan Fry. There's such a commanding presence inside his own penalty area. Really hasn't had much to do all season long for Seattle. Just 15 goals conceded in, now you could say, the better part of 14 matches played.
Yeah, exactly. So by the way, Andrew, I went back and I'm doing the research here in terms of finding the last Seattle Sounder to have a hat trick right now.
Before you say it, can I guess the player?
You can guess the player, yes.
Was it Clint Dempsey?
It was, yes. And that was
okay.
That was the first name of mine, but when I was kind of going back through regular season games, but I didn't know I'd have to go as far back as I thought I did, or as I thought I would have to.
Which match was it?
So that was back in 2016, August 7th, 2016. Can you remember the team? It was on the road there, and it was a part of that great 2016 comeback where the team, started to go on that great run under Brian Schmetzer.
Oh gosh.
It was in Florida, I'll give you that.
It was Orlando.
It was Orlando. It was a 3-1 win over Orlando there in August of 16, and Clint Dempsey scored 3 times, and it was just an exceptional game for him. So, listen, I don't want Raul Ruidiaz to push himself, but gotta be great if Ladero could get that third.
I don't want to strike a bitter memory, but if memory serves, that was also the game where I think Morris either had 3 assists or 2, and I think he had 2 assists, and his third would have been across to Nelson Valdez.
Well,
if you recall, Nelson Valdez put off the left post from inside the 6-yard box. I think that was that match.
Boy, yeah. Now you're pushing me a little bit for my knowledge of that game specifically. But I'm seeing as I read the game notes here for one, remember Ryan Kraz, as we remember him in the Sounders press box. I'm reading his game notes there from the final of that one. And one goal in the 14th minute was on a cross by Tyrone Mears. Then in the 37th was a ball from Jordan Morris. And then we see another simple ball from Morris on the breakaway in the second half. So, 2 assists from Jordan Morris.
Okay, so I think that was the Valdez post game. And it just, at the time, was such an evocative moment for that player because, he faced so much criticism while he was here. Because, they brought him in during that period when the club was struggling in 2015. They were really hoping for big things out of him and just never really produced during the regular season as one of the RSL players has been possessed at the halfway line. Someone call the authorities. Time continuing to tick away here. Won't somebody do something?
Well, sometimes you wish that players in the simulation would go to the corner post. In this version of the simulation, we are clearly seeing that is time wasting. But I'm not sure what that I can't even see what the number on that guy was. But I'm glad that we got a little bit of time off the clock, and as we near once again to this record of 20 in a row unbeaten here for the Sounders.
Another swift grab from Stephen Fry. Just to finish up the thought about Nelson Valdez, who's a player who maybe not for his regular season contributions will be remembered, in the brightest light, but you talk about what that guy did in that playoff run in 2016 and how much that goal, which may or may not have been offside against Sporting Kansas City, wound up meaning to the club. It's kind of one of those great redemption arcs that you always hope for when a player doesn't produce the way that you might have hoped he would.
Yeah, I think in the grand scheme of things, many years down the road, we're not going to remember what Nelson Valdez did or didn't do in the regular season. We're only going to remember about that KC goal. We're going to remember about the epic playoff moments because at the end of the day, what matters more than anything else is trophies. And Valdez contributed to trophies in a very, very big way there in 2016. So that is what he will be remembered for. And I think it's kind of funny. Victor Rodriguez has a similar sort of thing as the minutes tick down here, as the seconds are almost away, where it didn't matter how often he may have been injured. It mattered that Victor Rodriguez was MVP of MLS Cup 2019 and had one of the greatest goals, maybe the greatest goal in club history.
Well, both players in their own right who helped form a significant portion of this club's history. And these men on the pitch tonight have helped forge a little bit more. 20 matches without a loss. The Sounders remain at the top of the Western Conference, and as you see right there, pull level with Toronto FC in the Supporter Shield race. Another huge moment that will be etched into the annals of CenturyLink Field, Jackson.
It will. The rafters will be full of another banner. Cannot wait to see that. Of the record of 20 unbeaten, where the Sounders jumped the Columbus Crew of 2004-5, FC Dallas of 2010. Now, as we go back to last year, 2 to end the regular season, 4 in the playoffs, and then this season, 9 wins, 5 draws, no losses, top of the West, tied for the top of the league overall with, what do you know, it's Toronto again. And, if I'm a betting man right now, I would put a decent amount of money down on whether it's real or fake. Toronto, Seattle, 2020, 4th time in 5 years. Could it happen? We will see, but for this season right now and for this game, a 3-1 win that looked very, very easy at times. This team just continues to be kicking on all cylinders, whatever metaphor you want to say. They are absolutely dominating the competition right now.
Sounders now into an almost 2-week break for the theoretically international break, which obviously, there's no real soccer going on, so we don't know what we're going to do. We might simulate a friendly or something. Let us know in the comments on Facebook and Twitter what you want us to do, and here on YouTube as well. But in the meantime, Sounders will be back in action against the Vancouver Whitecaps for a Cascadia Cup clash on June 13, and we will have that match for you here. But until that time, for our producer Aaron Langley and Jackson Feltz, I'm Andrew Harvey saying so long. Thank you for joining us here on Scuttlebutt Sims, and we hope to see you next time. Stay safe, everybody.
Woo! Right.